So judgments is a fairly small subunit of the state transition function. Essentially, it provides the on-chain portion for what in Polkadot 1 is called disputes, which basically means when two validators disagree about whether a particular work report is a valid in JAM, we call these things, we don't call them disputes, we call them judgments, right? And judgments are just a small, very, very small as it happens, just basically a signature, extrinsic or portion of an extrinsic that floats around. And you use judgments both to understand whether there is a dispute and to record these things on chain. They're kind of the same thing, right? A judgment is really just an audit result. All right, so what's the great paper say? JAM provides a means of recording a vote amongst all validators over the validity of a work report, right? Unit of work done within JAM, right? So this explains, possibly for the first time, I don't know, that work reports are the expression of a work package after it's done its computation. So a work package is basically what computation to do. A work report is essentially the results of that computation. Such a vote is not expected to happen very often in practice. Well, no, because if there is a dispute, it means someone's going to get slashed, right? For a proof of stake chain anyway. JAM doesn't require it to be proof of stake, but if it is proof of stake, somebody's going to get slashed. That's part of the proof of stake security model. And indeed, it is an important security backstop. We need to know that if someone has created an invalid work report, that they will get slashed. Otherwise, we are going to accumulate some invalid data into our chain, and that's really no good. Now, the judgment system is a lot more than what I'm going to explain right now, because it has all of this off-chain logic, which will essentially ensure that any finalized fork is not one that has a dispute or an adverse judgment on it, or at least not enough adverse judgments for us to believe that it's invalid. Right, let's jump a little further into this. Okay, so first, a judgment, the word judgment is a bit of a pain, and you might see it used in two different contexts within the grey paper. On the one hand, by judgment, I kind of mean the judgment of the validator set, and by another, in some other context, I may mean one specific validator's judgment. Sometimes I call it verdict, and maybe the verdict of the validator set. I may well tidy up this terminology by the final draft, but just be very careful to question when you're reading it whether it's referring to a single validator's judgment or the overall judgment extrinsic, which will include a lot of other, well, all of the up to 2/3 plus one validator judgments. Now, the point of this judgment extrinsic is to update a particular piece of the state. I think they're called the judgment state. Maybe it would be better named the verdicts state. And it's this symbol here, which I think you can very easily remember is to do with this, because it's kind of got a V, which is like the validators, and then a slash through it, which is like slashed validators, yeah? And generally, when this thing is going to be used, it's going to be used for slashing validators. All right, let's just use these. All right. So there are a few other reasons that we want this on chain. One of them is so that we can remove any pending work report, any work reports pending accumulation from being accumulated. Very important. Second is that we can ban them from being accumulated again. And the third is that in case it's actually a positive judgment, we want to remember that it was a positive judgment, so we can't keep saying that the same work report was invalid. Basically, we're going to find that there are 3 levels of eventual verdict from the validator group. One of them is that we believe the work report is invalid. Another one is that we believe it's valid. And the third one is that we believe we can't make our minds up. Yep. And we'll go into specifically those conditions in a second.